Okay, so here, this video is meant to help you with some of the problems on Canvas number 60. So let's start with problem number 1 on the assignment, which I kind of typed it out here on the left-hand side of the screen. You have Carissa, who opens a savings account for college. She plans to deposit $2,400. This word deposit is helping us to figure out what the starting amount is, which is our principal. So she plans to deposit that $2,400 into an account, and that account is paying 6% interest compounded annually. So this is kind of my hint that I'm doing a compound interest formula, and here is my interest rate. Then it asks you, what is the total amount of interest? Now that sentence is really important because what it's actually asking you for is the amount of interest. And if you remember my compound interest formula, which is A is equal to P times 1 plus R raised to the T power, this tells me the total amount of money. So the fact that the question is asking you about interest means that there is one extra step that you have to go through in order to solve this. So the first thing I'm going to do is start by plugging in my values. I know my principal amount is $2,400. I have my 1. I know my rate is 0.06 as a decimal, and then I know that my time amount is 5 years, which is my exponent. I'm going to plug this into my calculator. And when I do that, I'm getting an answer of $3,211.74. Okay, now remember, this is the total in the account. I don't want to know the total amount of money in the account. The question is asking me about the interest. So remember, we talked about this. If you're using a compound interest formula and it's asking you about interest, that means that there's one extra step. I know that there is currently $3,211.74 in the account. I also know that I started with $2,400 in the account, and when I do this subtraction, it's going to tell me how much interest they added to the account. Which is $811.74. Worth of interest that was added to the account. So this is how much money there is in the account up here when we actually did the formula. But because they were questioning us about the amount of interest, I had to go that extra step and do the subtraction. All right, got another example. This is problem number 2 on your Canvas assignment. You have Ethan, who's planning to invest $750 in a savings account, and there that word investment tells us that this is what he's starting with. He's going to do that for 6 years. And it's going to earn 3.5% interest. There's that word compounded. That means it's a compound interest formula. And it's again asking us what is the total amount of interest that Ethan will earn over that 6 years. So we're going to start out by writing our formula down, which is A is equal to P times 1 plus R raised to the T. Then we're going to start plugging in our numbers. Our principal amount was $750. Our rate converted to a decimal is 0.035. And then the amount of time is 6 years. I'm going to plug this information into my calculator, and the calculator is giving me a total of $921.94. Now, remember that when we do this, this is the total amount of money in the account right now, but the question is not asking that. The question is asking how much interest was added. So in order to figure out how much interest was added, we need to take our total amount, which is the $921.94, And we are going to subtract it from my principal amount, which was my $750. So I'm going to do this subtraction in my calculator. And once my answer is going to be the amount of interest that was added to this account, which is $171.94. So again, this is the total amount of interest that was added to the account. And that is going to be my final answer for this problem. So as you are going back to your Canvas assignment, make sure that this $171.94 is what you use as your answer for problem number 2, because again, the question is asking how much interest was added to the account. So let's just do a recap of some of the things that you're going to need to know as you are working through these problems. First, you need to identify whether the problem is asking you to find the simple interest, or asking you to use the simple interest formula, or the compound interest formula. So you need to know whether you're solving for simple or compound interest. Now, once you do that, the next thing that you need to do as you are reading, and this is just, you using your reading skills, is you need to determine whether or not the problem is asking you to find the total, or whether it's asking you to find the interest that was added, because that makes a big difference as well. Remember that if you're finding simple interest, then the answer to the simple interest formula tells you the interest, and the extra step would be finding the total. If you are using the compound interest formula, the answer to that formula tells you the total. And if you want the interest, then you have to go the extra step. And then just a recap of the answers that we went through for this video. Question number 1, you had a final answer of $811.74. And for question number 2, we had a final answer of $171.94. And then the rest of the problems you'll be working on your own. All right, thanks for watching. And then finally, just a recap of your problems for Canvas number 60. We did problem number 1 in this video and gave us an answer of $811.74. Please make sure you use that answer in the assignment. You should not get this problem wrong. Question number 2 we also did together, was $171.94. Again, make sure that that's the answer that you type in, and you should have problem number 2 done correctly because we did it together. All right, thanks for watching, and complete the rest of your assignment.